She's out of Trinidad and she is now somewhere in the United Kingdom. Journey as the wire bend up the river where the story ends. And I want to read something, and this has to do with chapter 15, right? Page 170. The is a well, the story continues, but I want to go here. I want to read chapter 15, the beginning, and I'll go over to 170, and I'll try and make it really quick. It's a folklore, so you know the rhythm, the songs, the music, the emotions, everything is there. The way was steep and the earth was hard. The children climbed in single file, keeping alert for any noise or movement. The higher they went, the darker the forest became. A dark soot clung to every leaf, and a great cloud of smoke hung over the trees. All along the way, the faint hum of a voice traveled down to them, broken up in the wind. Sometimes I could hear what he's singing, said Bigger. You sure? Asked Percy. 'Cause I still can't hear no singing. He kept the dog close to his side, using the heavy staff to assist his progress. Da-na-na-na-na, Bigger sang. But Percy was already distracted. A strange rotten smell had crept under the constant smoke. What's that smell? He mumbled, sniffing loudly. Annabel walked ahead of them, peering through the encroaching gloom. There! She called over his shoulder. I see it! A large silk cotton tree marked the straggling end to the forest. It was tall and broad, with large roots and wide leafless branches. In the gloom of the setting sun, its twisted arms were bold and black. Beyond the trees, the land was bare apart from a few dead trees surrounding a wide bubbling lake. Steady columns of steam rose up off the dark water and curled over the stony shore with a thick smell of rotten eggs. Bigger, Percy, and Annabel held their noses as they gazed at the scene in front of them. Behind the lake was an enormous rock. Percy stepped past the hollow tree with a sense of exhilaration. He knew they had reached. This is the top of the hill, he mumbled. What kind of lake is this? Annabel asked. It's like a volcano underneath it, said Bigger, moving down towards the steaming water. What a poem, Percy sneered. Unable to bear the suffocating smell, Annabel dragged out the cloth he had taken from the washerwoman and tied the pail length over her nose. As she walked over to Bigger, he dropped his hand from his face. Hey, give me a piece of cloth tuna, he demanded. That's not how Caribbean people say it. Hey, give me a piece of cloth tuna, he demanded, catching up the end of the tugging at it. It's long enough. Annabel sighed heavily and untied the scarf. I suppose you want one too, right? She said to Percy, and sucking her teeth, tore the thin gauze into 3 shorter strips. Bigger and Percy tied the cloth tightly over their faces and turned to Annabel. Their eyes gleamed at each above the edges of the pale cloth, and Percy laughed. Gangsters! And pretended to fire a gun. Ignoring his brother, Bigger fished the pink stone and the golden ewe out of his pocket. The voice, quiet, he said. I go try and see if we could hear the next hum again. What about a riddle? Percy asked. Yeah, sing like an angel, but just one tone, said Annabel. Bigger nodded. Some tune piano, this called Greenstone, he mumbled, and tapped the gold and the stone together. At once, 2 melodious hums reverberated on the warm air. To sing the right song, don't sing it alone, he continued, and knocked them together again. Annabel gazed at the red crystal as it glowed in the fading light and began to hum the higher of the 2 tones. Percy joined in, humming the lower note, and Bigger sang below them both, sounding a new tone. Their voices rang out over the slow-moving water, circling the place and reverberating on the warm air. And as the echo of the harmonies faded into silence, Annabel peered across the water. I think I see something on the other side, she mumbled through the gauze. The golden rays of the sun gleamed on every top of the hill, and the dog gave a sharp yelp and darted off around the lake. Tubbs, Percy called out, and it barked again, its voice amplified by the water. Come on, said Bigger. We have to get to the other side. This is Lisa Levi's journey as the wire bend up the river where the story ends. Remember, they went by the silk cotton tree, and we'll do a little bit about the silk cotton tree. In Search of the Sacred Silk Cotton Tree by Winston and Kofi Small. That's out of Barbados. We had one out of Trinidad. The journey as the wire bend up the river where the story ends. Lisa Levi. And it's available for sale in your bookstores and Amazon as usual. So I will do the silk cotton tree.